It started like any other argument, small, meaningless, the kind of fight you expect to brush off in a few minutes. I had asked her casually if she wanted to spend some time together that evening. No big deal, just trying to be considerate, offering to set aside my work, just the two of us. I thought I was doing something nice. But the response I got threw me off. It wasn't just dismissive. It was cold, calculated, as if she'd rehearsed it. "I don't owe you intimacy," she said, her arms crossed, eyes hard, like she was daring me to question her words. I blinked, trying to process what had just come out of her mouth. "What?" I laughed, half nervous, half shocked, not sure if I'd heard her right. "What does that even mean?" But she didn't flinch. She repeated it sharp and clear. "It means exactly what it sounds like. I'm tired of you acting like it's some kind of obligation. Just because we're married doesn't mean I owe you anything." Her words hit me like a slap. They weren't just hurtful, they were a punch to everything I thought we were. Everything I'd been working for. I stood there frozen. Something inside me cracked, but the right words wouldn't come out. How could they? How could I possibly explain how wrong this felt? Instead, I just stood there, staring at her, realizing that the woman I thought I knew had suddenly become a stranger. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. "I don't owe you intimacy." The coldness in her tone made it clear she wasn't just speaking out of frustration. This was deliberate, calculated. It wasn't just a random outburst. It felt rehearsed, like she'd been waiting for the right moment to say it. And in that moment, everything changed. I couldn't process it. My mind raced, my heart beat louder in my ears. I was frozen. We had been together for years, years of sharing, of trust, of being a team. And yet here she was, telling me that something as fundamental as intimacy was something she didn't owe me. It was like she was telling me that all the moments we'd shared, the love we built, meant nothing. I wanted to argue, to tell her how much that hurt, how wrong it felt, but the words wouldn't come. How could I explain that everything we had built together felt like it was just gone? She wasn't just rejecting me in that moment, she was tearing apart the very foundation of what I thought we were. And I didn't even know how to fight back. 8 years. 8 years of sacrifices, late nights, overtime, the endless hustle to build a life together. I had given everything, put every ounce of myself into this marriage, believing we were partners, that we were in this together. And now, in a single sentence, she had shattered it all. I tried to tell myself it was just a bad day, that maybe she was stressed, maybe it wasn't as big as it felt. But deep down, I knew better. This wasn't the first time she had made me feel invisible, but it was the first time she had said it out loud, so clearly. "I don't owe you intimacy." Her words echoed in my mind, replaying over and over, each time feeling like a new layer of my foundation crumbling. I had sacrificed so much for us, for this life we were supposed to build together. But now it felt like it didn't matter. My efforts, my love, my time, none of it meant anything to her. And I stood there, unable to speak, unable to express the hurt that flooded through me. It was as if her words had knocked the wind out of me, leaving me empty, confused. And worse, I didn't even know how to fight for what we had left. I spent the next few days trapped in my own thoughts, replaying that conversation over and over, trying to make sense of it. Had I been fooling myself all along? All those late nights, all the little sacrifices I made, convinced that they were for us, for the future we were supposed to build together. Had I misread everything? I started to feel like a fool. A fool for thinking she still cared, for thinking our partnership meant something. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I had given, how much I had given up, for a marriage that now seemed so one-sided. The rejection wasn't just in her words, but in everything I had done, everything I had given, that she never seemed to notice. The little things I thought were meaningful, canceling plans, staying up late just to listen to her vent, even those quiet moments when I tried to connect, had never seemed to matter. And that's when it hit me. I couldn't keep sacrificing like this, pouring myself into a relationship where my efforts weren't even acknowledged. I had to stop. No more trying harder than she was willing to. No more bending over backward for someone who had made it clear they didn't owe me anything. I wasn't going to be the only one fighting for us anymore. I was done. As the days passed, my frustration grew. I started seeing everything clearly, too clearly. The imbalance in our marriage was like a weight I could no longer ignore. I had always given more. I'd worked late nights, sacrificed weekends, pushed myself to exhaustion, all to provide for us, to build a future. But now it felt like none of it mattered to her. I remembered those long hours I spent at the office, working overtime just to afford a better life, a better home for us. Back then, she used to tell me how proud she was, how lucky she felt to have someone who cared so much about our future. I clung to those words, believing they meant something. But now, looking back, I couldn't help but feel like I'd been tricked. My sacrifices had been erased the moment they stopped being convenient for her. It wasn't just the big things either. It was the little things, those countless times I canceled plans with friends to stay home because she needed me, or when I spent entire weekends fixing things around the house, or running errands to make her life easier. And then there were the nights I gave up sleep just to listen to her talk about work, making sure she didn't feel alone. All of it now felt like it had never been appreciated. I had given so much of myself, and now, standing there, I realized how little of that had been recognized. The love, the effort, the sacrifices, all of it seemed invisible to her. And I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep giving when she didn't seem to care, when she barely even noticed. The emotional imbalance was suffocating, and I was done being the only one trying to make things work. I couldn't shake the thought, did she still owe me respect? Loyalty? Commitment? What exactly did I deserve in this marriage anymore? It wasn't just about intimacy or affection. It was about feeling valued, feeling like I mattered. But for so long I'd felt invisible. Like my needs, my feelings, my sacrifices were nothing more than background noise to her. I'd spent years trying to keep this relationship afloat, convincing myself that all the late nights and quiet sacrifices were worth it, that they were for us. But now I couldn't help but wonder if she'd ever really seen me. If she had ever really understood what I was putting into this, what I was giving up just to make her life easier. She had made it clear with her words and actions that I wasn't a priority. And that realization hit harder than anything else. Maybe it wasn't just about what she owed me. Maybe it was about what I had been giving away without ever questioning whether I was getting anything back. I'd been so focused on making things work, on fulfilling my role as the provider, the husband, the one who sacrificed, that I had lost sight of what I needed. And the more I thought about it, the more it became clear. I didn't owe her endless effort if she couldn't even see me. Maybe we had never been on the same page. Maybe the partnership I thought we had wasn't really a partnership at all. And now I was left questioning everything. I started pulling away slowly at first. I didn't make a big scene or announce it. I just stopped trying. No more asking how her day went, no more keeping the conversations alive when they died. I wanted to see what would happen if I stopped being the one to carry everything, if I let her feel the space between us instead of always filling it. At first, she didn't even notice. She was so used to me taking the lead, to me filling the silence, that my withdrawal blended into the background. But then, little by little, I could see it start to bother her. She'd throw out comments, "You've been quiet lately, everything okay?" But I didn't respond the way I used to. I shrugged it off, pretending not to hear, pretending it didn't matter. Her attempts to regain control, to make everything feel normal again, only pushed me further away. She started picking at small things, criticizing the way I folded the laundry, complaining about me not refilling the gas tank, accusing me of being distracted during conversations we weren't really having. But instead of arguing, I let her words roll off me. I wasn't going to play that game anymore. It was strange. She was trying harder, but it didn't feel like real effort. It felt like she was just trying to smooth things over, to put a band-aid on a wound that had already been torn open. And the more she tried, the clearer it became that she didn't understand. The emotional distance between us wasn't something that could be fixed with small gestures or empty words. It was too late for that. I wasn't the only one who had stopped trying. She had too, even if she didn't realize it yet. And that was the hardest part. The moment came when I couldn't hold it in anymore. I wasn't angry, not really, just exhausted. I looked at her, finally ready to say what had been building up inside me for so long. "I'm just done trying harder than you," I said, my voice calm but firm, the words cutting through the silence that had settled between us. She froze. For a moment, I could see the shock in her eyes, the disbelief, as if she couldn't quite comprehend what I was saying. And then she opened her mouth to respond, but the words never came. I didn't let her speak. I didn't want to hear any more excuses, any more justifications. I wasn't the one who had given up first, but I was the one who had kept trying, kept investing in something that felt like it was running on empty. And I was tired. Tired of feeling like I was the only one putting in the work. Tired of giving and giving without anything in return. I wasn't asking for perfection. I wasn't even asking for a lot. But I needed something. And I couldn't keep bending over backwards for a relationship where my effort wasn't being met with the same. It was too much. And I had reached my limit. That was the shift. I wasn't going to keep investing in a one-sided marriage anymore. Not when I was the only one trying to keep it alive. As I walked away, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of relief. It wasn't because I was leaving her, not exactly, but because for the first time in a long time, I was choosing myself. I was no longer putting her needs, her expectations, her version of us above my own well-being. The future was uncertain, and part of me was still afraid of what lay ahead. I didn't know if this was the end of our marriage or just a pause, a reset, but I knew one thing. I couldn't keep living in a relationship that drained me. I couldn't keep sacrificing pieces of myself for someone who wasn't willing to meet me halfway. Choosing myself wasn't an easy decision. It was painful even, but it was also freeing. I wasn't sure what the next chapter would look like, but I knew it would be mine. I wasn't going to let this relationship define me anymore. I wasn't going to stay stuck, hoping for something to change when it was clear nothing was going to. This wasn't just about walking away, it was about reclaiming my own worth, my own happiness. It was about choosing to stop waiting for someone else to give me the respect and love I deserved. For the first time in years, I was putting myself first, and it felt like the start of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom.